we should keep Mushmouth out of this. You know, because Mushmouth never slandered the church like this. You know what I mean? Mushmouth didn't do anything to get the blame for the fall of Western civilization. You know what I mean? He just liked to play with his friends.
What it? Carter, you go to get it. Simon, baby.
Shout out to all of the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make society worse.
I know this is going to offend the liberal elites. Every time I say it, it offends them. But let me say it one more time. America is not a racist country.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
Hey, Tim Scott. No, let me holler at you. Hey, put that shoe shine down. You don't use that for your head. Let me holler at you. I spared you. I didn't say nothing about that whole Jerome Powell helmet thing. I didn't say a word.
With me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed, one of the reasons I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses. Wanted to figure out why.
You think they only had two hard hats? Or did Trump say, nah, don't worry about it. Tim good. He all right.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
So we're going to take a look.
Oh no, Jerome Powell, you don't talk to the boss like that, and you making eye contact? You don't want to go through what I've been through.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble. Don't do it, Miss Seeley. Don't trade places with what I've been through.
Okay, that's a lie. That's a lie. I did. But that was just casual. That was just a little comment. I didn't devote a whole video to it. Yet here you go.
When ordinary people stand up and respond to the call of God, extraordinary things happen. Think about President Trump. 2 assassination attempts. We must believe, Daniel 2 talks about he chooses the leaders. We must believe that there is something unique and specific that God wants to accomplish, and he chooses the people. They have to say yes, of course. Free will still matters. But there's no way you can look at the last 2 years of this country's history and not come to one conclusion. God is still at work in America, and he's not finished.
He must go to one of them storefront churches. Yeah, he don't go to none of them churches that No, he don't even go to Sunday service. I don't think he go to Saturday service. He just slide in Saturday service where you just come straight from the ranch or the club, or in Tim Scott's case, who knows what Tim Scott become. Y'all was trying to get me. It's a club of sorts. It's a club of sorts. But I can tell you this, he don't go nowhere where I go. I can tell you that right now. Now let me ask you this. So if God picked Trump, did he pick Biden? Did God pick Biden?
There is something unique and specific that God wants to accomplish, and he chooses the people.
So you would have reacted, man, you would have reacted, you would have just nodded your head if somebody would have said he picked Biden. How often does God vote? Does God vote like every 4 years like we do? Or does he just come around like every 20 or so? I would love to know that. Did God pick Clinton? Cause Trump has had a lot of smoke for Clinton and Obama. I would love to know if God picked Jimmy Carter. You think God picked Jimmy Carter?
He chooses the people.
Because those right-wing pundits like Scott Jennings and them had a whole lot of smoke for him even after God called Jimmy Carter home. So, you know what I mean?
He was a terrible president. That's why he lost in a landslide after his one term. And if it's possible, I think he was even a worse ex-president because of his meddling in U.S. foreign policy, because of his saddling up to dictators around the world, because of his vehement views, anti-Israel views.
I wouldn't sit next to Scott Jennings on that panel. No, not after what he said about God's selection of Jimmy Carter.
He chooses the people.
Now, how about this? Did God pick Ivanka? Did God pick Ivanka? And did God pick Marla Maples?
He chooses the people.
Because you mean to tell me that God picked Trump as our president, but took 3 tries to pick a first lady? Is that what you want me to? He took 3 tries and then God had him lose in 2020. That is fascinating right there. Now, you think God called Ivanka home just so she could have a front row seat to him moving through Trump? Is that what you, because that would be particularly cruel, I think, if he would have done that. Now, did God also pick all the kids? Like God had Don Jr. and Eric go through the struggles that they went through. Did God pick Lara Trump?
You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
He chooses the people.
She certainly does have the voice of an angel. I could imagine that.
Without your bravery, we're all out of luck. No, this can't be denied. You gotta be special.
And naturally, God would have picked Tiffany as well to be in the White House. I don't even think Donald picked Tiffany to be in the White House.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine.
He chooses the people.
Now, I wonder if God was in the jury for those 34 felonies. You know, did God have a hand in the 34 felony counts? Because I gotta imagine that God's justice would always win out.
He chooses the people.
Now, I wonder, was God's hand on the Trump birthday card that he drew for Epstein? I wonder, was God's hand? Because like I said earlier, that looked like child's work. You know what I mean? I can't imagine God would draw something like that.
He chooses the people.
Now, if God's hand was on Trump to install him in the White House, why wouldn't it have been on the Trump phone? Why the service so spotty? You know what I mean? Why the service so spotty on the Trump phone? And what about that Trump watch? Or should I say the rump watch? Yeah, what's with the rump watch? So God just abandoned the making of the Trump watches? And what was going on when Trump was playing golf? Was that God that dropped the ball when Trump was playing golf?
He chooses the people.
Now, I can tell you where you really messed up at, Tim. Because you thought you put on a great performance for biscuits. You know what I mean? You thought you was going to go home to a full tray. You know you're not supposed to bring this up. This was supposed to be dropped the moment he entered office, because now it just looks weird that Trump has more smoke for Charlemagne the God than any of the people who, you know, tried to take him out, apparently. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. He got more smoke for Beyonce than people that tried to take him out. And I'm supposed to swallow that at face value? Is that what you expect me to believe? How do people even get like this?
I just love you.
No, that's good.
I can tell you this, Tim Scott, and you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. It with me, Tim. They finna drag you. That's exactly right. Oh, look, Tim Scott is trending, shucking and jiving for Trump again. Grandstanding for his daddy. It's pretty gross. I don't think anyone is black enough to call this guy what he really is. Well, I think Dr. Umar, too soon to bring up Dr. Umar? Okay, let's just read the next one. Send in the plagues. In a shocking moment, Tim Scott says that God chose the guy who's all over the Epstein files, who stole from the poor to give to the ultra rich, who lies and cheats to lead America. It is a cult. God help us. Well, one thing I can say, I certainly don't have Tim Scott speaking this way about God.
I just love you.
No, that's good.
Tim Scott says God chose Donald Trump to lead America. He thinks his faith grew after the assassination attempt. LOL. And I wish Tim Scott would stop playing with God like that. God doesn't care about any of this political shite, bro. Stop it, mushmouth. Oh, and they coming for him in the comments. This is pretty racist, dude. Racist pig. Another racist meme. Are you proud of yourself? You know what? I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But, you know, we should keep mushmouth out of this. You know, because Mushmouth never slandered the church like this. You know what I mean? Mushmouth didn't do anything to get the blame for the fall of Western civilization. You know what I mean? He just liked to play with his friends.
What it Carter, you gonna get it, Simon Almond.
Now, for one thing, I think Mushmouth would have responded to the elimination and degradation of his entire legacy. We still ain't heard from you about the elimination of the Commerce Department's Minority Business Development Agency, something that you've been touting for years. Trump just wipes away and we hear absolutely nothing. Senate Banking Chair Tim Scott has spent years boosting a federal program to support minority-owned businesses. President Donald Trump's administration dismantled it in a number of weeks. Scott, along with other Republicans, was integral to congressional efforts to permanently authorize the Commerce Department's Minority Business Development Agency, expand its services into rural areas, and leverage the program to help minority-owned businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now the program, which funds grants to business owners and provides technical assistance, support, and mentorship, has had 100% of its staff, about 50 people, placed on administrative leave or redistributed within the Commerce Department, according to a Commerce employee and a Democratic staffer granted anonymity to discuss personnel matters. For years, Scott has prioritized efforts to expand access to capital and economic mobility for underserved communities like the one he says he grew up in, and minority businesses like his own Main Street Insurance Company. The MBDA dates back to the Nixon administration and was one outlet for this mission. But Scott has stayed silent publicly about the gutting of the agency. They are watching this happen and they are doing nothing. That's cowardice, and it cuts especially deep when the people you once believed were your champions turn their backs in silence, the Commerce Department employee said of Scott's and other Republicans' silence on cuts to the program. And I can tell you this too. Whenever Mushmouth got married, he wouldn't have to keep posting because there's so much smoke that says that it isn't real. An excellent wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. Is that 2 Corinthians? That must be 2 Corinthians right there. By the grace of God, I found her. Happy anniversary to my beautiful wife and best friend. And then we get anniversary dinner. So blessed. Love you, Mindy. That's smart. That's smart. He did the 2 for 1. I wonder if they have a limit on how many of those you could post for every time that they get together. That is interesting. See, that's the stuff they should teach you about in school. That's the stuff I'm sure they probably will teach you about in school now that we have devastated the Department of Education. Tim Scott.
But I wanted to spend a minute or two on the success of the tax credits for school choice embedded in that one big, beautiful bill. I will tell you, as a kid growing up in poverty, I went to 4 elementary schools by the 4th grade. So I know firsthand the importance of making sure that every single child in South Carolina, and I dare say every single child in America, deserves quality education. I don't care whether that's a private school, public school, homeschool, charter school. I want every child to have a choice in education.
Well, that's funny because apparently funneling all this money to the charter schools and the private schools means that they now have the choice on who they decide gets an education. Tim Scott, we have defunded the entire public education system, which would have been the most direct way to ensure that. Not only that, this is the same week that we hear that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is going to shut down, something that has educated millions of kids over decades.
Corporation for Public Broadcasting is shutting down after Congress pulled its funding. The CPB has been around for nearly 60 years. It provides federal funding to local public radio and TV stations across the country, like NPR and PBS. CPB says it has informed employees that a majority of its staff will be terminated at the end of September.
And I'm glad you mentioned South Carolina because in many jurisdictions, especially the dense population centers, you can find companies to fill in that funding. That's not the case in the most rural jurisdictions, as you will see in South Carolina. So talk to me again about education. And that's not the only way that Trump has kneecapped your state.
Next, we'll go to S2301, Improving Care in Rural America Reauthorization Act of 2025. And we have both bill sponsors here. I'll start with Senator Tim Scott. Tim Scott, the bill sponsor, to introduce the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. It's been a pleasure to work with my colleagues on this committee and co-sponsors of the bill, including Senators Smith, Lummis, and Kane, to pass legislation that improves the health of all communities, but specifically rural communities. This bill improves access to care for the rural communities. Over 30% of South Carolinians and 1 in 5 Americans live in the rural areas. Access to care continues to remain a challenge, and these HRSA programs are vital to bridging those gaps. The act includes language to make sure these funds not only go to rural communities, but also include local community involvement and how these programs are run.
Now, this wouldn't happen to be some Band-Aid legislation that you have to cobble together because of how Trump's big, beautiful bill, which you couldn't tout enough.
What a great day for America, passing the big, beautiful bill. No tax on tips, avoiding the largest tax increase in American history. Build a wall, fund our military, drill, baby, drill. It's a great day to be an American, and an even greater day to celebrate the big, beautiful bill.
Because of how that devastated healthcare in rural communities now, would it? No, because that would be disingenuous, kind of like this.
Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning.
This is why you have so much traffic in Charleston, because everyone's leaving New York.
They've lost their minds. I mean, literally, they've lost their minds because they lost their voters. The truth of the matter is, if this is the face of the Democrat Party, they learned nothing from the 2024 beatdown that President Trump put on them.
Okay, so we want to talk about how the Democratic Party has learned nothing from the beatdown that Trump has put on them the same week as y'all are going to the mattresses and threatening to arrest and prosecute people because of your gerrymandering. Pick a struggle. You know what I mean? Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You want to be out here talking about, they are so down, but you got to gerrymander. But you have to gerrymander. And by the way, since you threw that slander over at New York, Kathy Hochul, apparently he said y'all lost your voters. He said New York has lost your voters. So naturally, you don't care what they do in New York. Now, do you? Since it's done emptied out and you got all the people in beautiful South Carolina. Now, I haven't seen fit to drag Tim Scott for quite some time now. It makes you wonder why he all of a sudden has unearthed himself and signed up for the Summer Jam screen. What you got going on?
Everyone should buy today at Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. One Nation, Always Under God. It will teach you about our future by understanding our past and how Judeo-Christian values have influenced every major institution in our country. Get your copy right now. Amazon.com. One Nation, Always Under God.
Oh, okay, all right. So you want to teach us about understanding our future through our past. Okay, for anybody that doesn't want to order that book or put money in Tim Scott's fund so he can keep posting photos of him and his wife, here's basically what that book is about.
Today, kids are being taught that the color of their skin defines them again. And if they look a certain way, they're an oppressor. From colleges to corporations to our culture, people are making money and gaining power by pretending we haven't made any progress at all, by doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. It's backwards to fight discrimination with different types of discrimination, and it's wrong to try to use our painful past to dishonestly shut down debates in the present. I think it's exciting, no matter the outcome. It's the evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made. The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror. We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
Now, unfortunately, there have been so many racists of the weeks after he posted that he's going to have to future date. You're going to have to put, because you said it's in the rearview mirror, but it's been wild racism that has happened after that. So you might want to post date that. You're going to have to scrub that off the internet and use AI to make y'all look futuristic. I don't know what date you're going to use when magically the racism is going to be gone. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea, but, huh? Oh, Trump co-signed the book? Our great Senator Tim Scott, one of the finest men I know, wrote a fantastic new book entitled One Nation, Always Under God. Get it now, President DJT. If you just want a visual representation for the scraps that Black Maga receives, let's call it the Tim Scott experience, right? The scraps that Black Maga receives. That's what he wrote about Tim Scott trying to sell his book, where he will go and say that God picked Donald Trump in order to drum up attention for said book. This is how much he had to say about American Eagle. And shout out to MK Ultra, who said Sydney Sweeney made Trump's 80-year-old mushroom move. This is how much he had to say about the American Eagle ad. And by the way, while we're on this, I love that he says Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican. You would think if anybody was advising him, they might say, why don't you zag sometimes? Why don't you find a way to not be as nakedly partisan and out for elevating your own ego at all times? Can't even do it. Not even here. Goes on to attack a random Jaguar woke advertisement. Who knows why that's on his mind? And then finds a way to take a shot at Taylor Swift posting "no longer hot" in all caps. I need to bring back whoever I said was supposed to be advising Trump for him to talk about a woman is no longer hot in all caps while the entire country is talking about him being on the Epstein list. Like, what? Not even for a moment. But Tim Scott, that's how much he had to say about American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney. And by the way, all you cancel culture people, real quiet now, huh? You're real quiet now, huh? You really was all in on the cancel culture about the Hulk Hogan thing, and He couldn't stay down for 3 days.
He chooses the people.
And Tim Scott, let's also talk about this. That specific ad was one that people objected to because of its allusions to eugenics and good genes. And Trump jumps right on top of it, talks about Sydney Sweeney being a Republican and attacking woke. So we can add that to him attacking Beyonce and Oprah and Barack Obama and the Washington Commanders for not being the Redskins anymore. You know, everything just comes up brown. You know what I mean? Oh, everything he wants to attack it just comes up brown. It's crazy. It's crazy how that happened. And what was it that you said again?
America is not a racist country.
The man literally only commented on that so he could double down on people's race. Like, that's the only reason why he did that. And how do you respond? By going in front of the national media and telling us about how God chose Trump.
You have never shied away from talking about your faith. I've seen you at church in Charleston before,
yes.
And now you've written this new book. It's called One Nation, Always Under God. Tell us about it.
It is a way for you, if we're going to see the best future we have to look at those stories of Americans, Christians, who had courage. In the book, you'll find amazing stories about remarkable people who did wonderful things. You know, one of the things that got me in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago, 2021, was when I said, America is not a racist country. I said so because we're not. Why aren't we? First person in the book, Lloyd Garrison. Here's a man who understood taking the reins, fighting against slavery, and delivering people. He put his life on the line, his livelihood on the line, and frankly was almost mobbed and killed. He did so because he felt this passion in his heart, called by God to do something remarkable. Eddie Rockenbacher, here's a guy, soldier, pilot, finds himself, plane crashes, he and his fellow men are floating, he prays. And he believes that God speaks to him. And he learns how to catch birds. He learns how to save his men while floating for days on the ocean. What we'll see in the book, time and time again, is that the Lord speaks to our hearts. And when we respond, the most remarkable things happen because God is not finished with America. And my hope is that as you read through the book, you'll see that our future is very dependent on our past. Our past, a Judeo-Christian foundation, leads to the brightest future this nation will ever have.
That's beautiful.
Now, I have a suspicion. Let me go Lloyd Garrison. Okay. I believe he's talking about William Lloyd Garrison, the prominent American abolitionist. Now, so now I get why Trump had tweeted about the book. That makes sense. Because you found a white man to give credit for, that's on code. That's on code. You said he's the first guy? He's the first guy? Mm-hmm. Let's look up Eddie Rockenbacher. I think he's talking about Eddie Rickenbacker, but that's not going to help those much-mouthed allegations. I can tell you that right now. That's not going. I think Mushmouth would have got out Rickenbacker. I think he would have got out Rickenbacker. But just in case you're wondering, Eddie Rickenbacker. Oh, that's on code. That is on code. Tim Scott, you got a whole book full of white heroes to tell us why we not a racist. I told y'all I'm coming to a new place with Black Maga. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Because we ain't got the strength to pull them back. Y'all got it. Tim Scott, who's your third hero? Paula Deen?
Well, listen, for our economy to continue to boom, what we need is lower interest rates. Why? Because we almost are at full employment. Prices are relatively stable. Inflation's at about 2.7%. So what else is there left for us to have the best economy we could have? Lower interest rates. The EU have had multiple rate decreases while we've remained the same. It puts us in an anti-competitive global marketplace because our interest rates are too high. Jay Powell, let's lower our interest rates. It's the right thing for the American people. Forget about Trump. Forget about Biden. Let's just do the right thing for the American people, Trey.
Nah, Tim Scott, God chose that interest rate. Yeah, that's God's work. You don't want questions. You don't want to question God's work. So we can't have that. You didn't even make it to the end of this video with no consistency with that. The one thing I can tell you though, Tim, is at least you got good company down bad in Black Maga because Candace and Byron not doing no better than you.
You are a diversity hire. You are a DEI hire. You pander. And she thinks she's some kind of boss bitch. Yeah, you're a bitch, but like you didn't get that way because you're a super smart boss. You got that way because you're super bitchy black token. Like it is what it is. So I don't know that anyone's ever told her that. But that's the obvious and I'm kind of done with all the Uncle Toms. In a way, I'm done with all the Uncle Toms. I'm done with Jason Whitlock. I'm done with Candace Owens. I'm done with all the Uncle Tom token blacks. Like, you're not that smart. You're not even that conservative. You built your career on a grift that is now dead. You were hired when diversity quotas were a thing. You were hired when white guilt is the thing. I don't feel white guilt. I never have. DEI is over. So now you're done. You need to be fired. Like, you're done.
And that is the one thing that gives me, that's the one thing that puts some wind in my sails. That, and I can't wait to see how these sales go. Oh boy, I can't. Who's buying the Tim Scott book? Oh, I need to. I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna be on it, Tim. Know that. I'm gonna be on it like they be invoicing you every time you send out one of them tweets. Yeah, just like that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe or even join if your heart is so moved. Shout out to all the people, by the way, that have responded to me at admin@reesewaters.com, volunteering your various services on the channel, be it for research or for editing. I even heard from Mr. Ray's hair weave. I'm gonna hit them up because I asked about a man unit. So y'all stay tuned, Mr. Ray's.
You can style it, sleep in it, even shampoo it. Let Mr. Ray give you softer, sexier hair today.
Just because you haven't heard from me doesn't mean you won't. I'm making my way through those emails as quickly as I can, so just bear with me. Speaking of which, a lot of you guys have sent in content suggestions. Is it me or Racist of the Week's just falling from trees these days?
Well, now you have to go with your insurance company on your truck, so I hope you have another car. Racism is expensive.
It's like we got way more open with our racism in 2025, huh? Imagine that.
We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America.
There have been so many, I can't turn them around fast enough. So I might have to start stacking my Racist of the Weeks, maybe give out like a gold, silver, and bronze. So just know if you see multiple topics, that's exactly what's happening. And I want to give a shout out to Steven, who sent me this photo with the note, "Love the show, a nightly ritual with the wife," with his discouraged, depleted, but never defeated mug. I love the photo and I appreciate the support even more. That mug and plenty more is available at reesewaters.com. By the way, I got to get out of here because I heard Frozen Smoke and Goshen making it rain again.